Hi, welcome to AmalgamNation presents World of Lorecraft, Druidcraft Edition. Cenarius is the patron entity of all druids. However, each group of druids has its own special patrons, and some even have the ability to transform into a being that looks like their patron. Many druids will take on an animal companion based on their patron. According to Tauren mythology, Cenarius instructed them first in Druidism, as recounted in their myth Forest Lord and the First Druids. With the release of Wrath of the Lich King, it is strongly suggested that the Tauren were most likely to have been the first students of Cenarius, as accounted by a 10,000 plus year old immortal Tauren druid by the name of Zaran Tor. There is still debate whether this character is considered canon, but at the very least Zarantor suggests in the game that while he and his brethren were taught directly by Cenarius, his fellow druids forgot their lessons over the years. This would imply that current Tauren druidism is relatively new and learned from the Night Elves. As it stands, the Night Elves lay claim to the first druid with Malfurion Stormrage. Malfurion, the first of the Night Elven druids, is not only considered the most powerful known druid in Warcraft lore, but is also considered one of the most powerful characters on Azeroth. Malfurion led the Night Elves through the War of the Ancients and the long years that followed. With creation of the World Tree Nordrassil, the Kel'Dorai druids were bound to Ysera and her realm, the Emerald Dream, in which they spent centuries of their immortal lives. The Cenarian Circle was formed as the governing society of druids based in sacred Moonclade. Locked in slumber in their barrow dens for generations, the druids awoke to meet the threat of the Burning Legion during its recent invasion. After Archimonde's defeat, the druids chose to remain in the waking world and help to rebuild their shattered lands. The Legion's attack left a terrible scar on the natural order, and the druids sought to heal it. The Night Elf druids were recently joined in the Cenarian Circle by the Tauren druids. Neither participate in the Alliance Horde conflict, but coexist peacefully within the Circle. Druids belong to many other different organisations or types, including the Cenarian Expedition, Druids of the Claw, Druids of the Talon, Druids of the Wild, Druids of the Fang, Druids of the Antler, Druids of the Grove, and Druids of the Side. Druids come and go as they please, and their goals typically have little to do with civilized world. Unaffiliated with any specific government, the primary druidic organisation on Azeroth, the Cenarian Circle, answers to no one save itself. The highest rank that a druid can have is that of Archdruid, and there are only a few Archdruids in Azeroth. At the moment, the Cenarian Circle's leader is Archdruid Malfurion Stormrage, also widely considered to be the first mortal druid on Azeroth. Through their deep connection to life and nature, druids are able to take on an unusually large variety of roles. Probably a druid's best known role is that of healer. Druids are justly famed for their ability to restore life, cure poisonous wounds, and remove curses. Indeed, restoring and protecting the planet is one of the top priorities for all druids. Still, to regard a druid as merely a healer is a dangerously simplistic assumption that has led to the defeat of many an unwary foe. Druids' empathy with the creatures of the wild also allows them to shapeshift into the forms of other animals. For example, a wounded druid whose magical energies are running low might abruptly take the form of a bear in order to better withstand further injury. Alternatively, the druid might shift into the form of some large cat, sneak up behind an enemy, then pounce and deliver a fierce flurry of melee attacks. Even the deepest oceans can be explored by druids who can simply shift into an aquatic creature, allowing them to stay underwater as long as needed. Until the end of the Third War, druids periodically visited the Emerald Dream to monitor the ebb and flow of life on Azeroth. Today, such a visit has become more difficult due to Nordrassil's poor health. Druids possess a deep understanding of the way in which all living things depend upon one another. Whenever this delicate equilibrium is disrupted, the druids work to restore the balance. To that end, druids can use their connection with the Emerald Dream to exert a calming influence over animals, even forcing some into a temporary state of hibernation. Just as the druids can wield peace and somnolence, however, they can tap into the fury of nature itself. Terrible storms respond to their call, thorns sprout from their skin to wound their attackers, even previously harmless roots grow from the soil at great accelerated speeds in order to entangle foes. For obvious reasons, druids thrive in the wild outdoors. Inevitably, they lose some of their effectiveness when they are forced to endure separation from the natural environment. What good is a cleansing rain when a druid cannot even see the sky? How are roots to capture a foe who is standing atop a high tower? Such cases clearly require a druid with the imagination to consider new strategies and the flexibility to carry them out. Yet this flexibility too comes with an underlying negative corollary. The druid tends to be a jack of all trades, but a master of none, an unusual mixture of priest, rogue and warrior. The druid is therefore not equal to any of these three classes in their particular specializations. Even so, the druid's incredible adaptability serves them well in confronting the challenges which Azeroth throws their way. Druid equipment. Druids are able to wear cloth and leather armor only. They can use staffs, one-handed mace, two-handed mace, daggers, fist weapon, polearm. Druids do not use shields, although in bare form their armor is so high it wears as if they were, and do not dual wield. Offhand items may be used by druids. Druids receive a 5% bonus to their primary stat when wearing all leather armor. It is uncommon to find two-handed maces with agility on them, so most feral or guardian druids use their staves or polearms. Notable druids are Brol Bearmantle, Cenarius, Remulos, Hamul Rune Totem, Fandral Staghelm, Malfurion Stormrage, Zaytar, Celestina of the Harvest. Endgame expectations for a druid. Well, before the Burning Crusade expansion, most druids were healers in the endgame. New itemization and talents have made druids of any specialization viable in endgame and raids. Entangling Roots gives druids the ability to provide reliable crowd control on melee targets. There is no class better at healing over time than restoration druids. In raid encounters where there is a lot of movement and cast times are often interrupted, a druid is quite effective in healing due to the instant cast nature of their heal over times, enabling spells to be cast on the run. In arenas, resto druid teams are particularly feared by many due to the druid's ability to quickly cast heal over times on both partner and self, and the ability to keep out of harm's way with travel form, effectively kiting most opponents. Guardian druids can fill the core role of tanking well, while warriors have significant advantages on some raid bosses. Guardian druids have the unique flexibility to switch from tanking to melee DPS on demand. They often tank bosses or mob groups where more tanks are required, and then change form and gear to DPS on bosses where only one or two tanks are required. It is also possible during a single fight, if the ad they are off tanking dies, for them to switch from tanking to DPS. Feral druids are expected to bring utility while still providing reliable damage over time bleeds. Many cats are able to hit high damage meters while still being able to battle, resurrect or tank small ads if needed. As always, remember, play to game and game to play.